Hi everyone, Zach here, and welcome to lesson 46 in this series on developing a survival game. In this video, we will continue with what we've done in the last video and from section 2 by updating our resources for our trees. Again, there might be some long pauses in this video as the engine compiles some shaders. Once again, no, your engine's not frozen. No, the computer is not frozen. It just takes a bit for some of the stuff to compile. I will be pointing out where these pauses will be. That said, the series has been brought to you by my Patreon sponsors. And all of that said, fire up your project and let's get started. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the editor. And in today's video, after we set up our herbs, we're going to set up our wood resources. Now, this is one of two videos where we might experience a fair amount of lag, because we're going to have to load in some of the trees, and that's going to take some time. So I am just giving you warning now that, hey, there might be spots where you're going to pause for an extended period of time. But we'll take care of that sort of issues towards the end of the video. First thing we're going to do is just jump straight into this and go into our core, actors, items, resources, construction. Let's pop open our construction master real quick. And we need to just open the full blueprint editor up so we can add in one more variable. And right now we're only going to use this for our trees. Now, that said, we're going to have two resources that we're going to create in this video. But we're going to have the trees and then the tree stumps. This is only going to be used for the trees for now, but if we have ore resources, I'm going to include this with our ores down the road. And this is going to be a variable called harvestable amount. So if you remember way back when we did our item system, I mentioned, hey, you know, we might only be able to pick up a certain amount of things and not what is all there. So we had this item amount and the amount to add on the outside. We're going to now play with that idea. So remember, item amount is item amount in here in the master, but elsewhere it could be something else. It could be we can only pick up 5 of 10 at a time. So that's why we have this harvestable amount, which means that this is going to be of type integer. And to make my life easier, I'm just going to put this in the category of master so I know where it's at, and I'm going to give it a default value of 1. So if I screw something up down the road, at least I'll be able to pick up 1 of whatever it is. All right, that done. Let's go back into the correct folder if you followed along with everything I just did there. I'm going to create one new master, and this will be our BP TreeMaster. This will be an abstract class. Sorry, it keeps opening in the wrong window. And in our TreeMaster, we're going to actually go back up to our items. We're going to go to our item master here, and we're going to go to our event graph, and we're going to actually duplicate everything over here. All right, I'm just going to control C it. I'm going to go back to my tree master, and then I'm just going to paste this in here because we are going to do some changes. And I'm going to do my event trigger pickup object. So we're now overriding it. We do want everything else in here to remain the same. But what we are going to do, set up our pickup amount here to be a bit different. So we're going to delete that. And we're going to move this over that way just for now. We are going to do select with the golden trident. And what we're going to do for this select here, I'm actually going to give myself a bit of room. Move that to the right. If it will let me. There we go. I meant to unclick on all of this, but now I've done that. I'm going to move it more to the right. All right, I'm going to search for my harvestable amount and my amount or item amount. All right, I am going to do, is my harvestable amount greater than my item amount? The reason why we do this is we might actually have reduced the amount of resources so that the harvestable amount is less than our item amount, and then we don't want to pick up the harvestable amount because, you know, if there's only 4 there and we can pick up 5 and we pass in 5 to here, well, we're picking up an extra. So we're going to do that check first. If this is false, if our harvestable amount is, not greater than the amount to add. So if this is false, then we want to pick up the harvestable amount. So in other words, let's say this is 5 and the tree has 10. So this is 5, this is 10, then we want to pick up 5. If this amount is greater than what we can actually pick up, or what is available to pick up, then we want to pick up what's available. So let's say this is 11 and this is 5. We click once. This gives us 5. We now have 6 here. We harvest the second time. We take 5 is less than 6, so we take 5. This is now 1. 5 is greater than 1. We don't want to pick up 5. We want to pick up 1. So we pass the 1 in. That's what's going on there. Hopefully that made sense and was clear enough, but if not, my apologies. All right. Just lining that up a bit better. All right. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to actually duplicate this false over here and plug it into there. Technically, you could have that on the master as well. I'm just doing this to be really pedantic. And then we're going to have another step that we're going to do right after this, but we don't have the material for it yet, so we'll talk about that in a moment or two. So we'll have to take care of the other part of the tree first that we need to take care of. So now that we've done that, all we're going to do is we are going to go back to our TreeMaster here. Let's open this up, and in our TreeMaster, we are going to set the harvestable amount to default to 5. It is consumable, it is harvestable, it is not consumable in this case. Its name will be wood, and it will be our T wood 0 icon. And for the text here, all I'm going to do is put in the text in line 1 that says wood chopped from a tree native to this island. I just realized there's a typo in there. It says of this island. It should say to this island. This wood seems to have a significant amount of iron in it. And then I'm just going to do an item weight. And the weight will be 5 pounds. And I am going to get rid of the extra line. Set this to 5. For now, we'll leave this as used. We can change this later. Max stack will be 10. We will want to change this to our wood master. Tree. Give me a second. Apparently I can't find the tree in there. Alright, so I found the issue just really quickly. Go to your class settings. Remove the generate abstract class. We have to do that last. I didn't realize that. News to me, actually. And then we can do our TreeMaster, compile, save, and then go back to your class and do generate abstract. And I get why it doesn't want you to be able to do it here, but we're not going to worry about that too much. All right, for base amount, we are actually going to do 10 for amount to add. Our item amount, we're going to default to 10. Again, just that is to control for the fact that trees are large and you're going to get a fair amount of wood from them. You can do 5 and 5 if you prefer. I would still lower the harvestable amount then. Remember, they need to be integers though. So whatever values you feel like putting in. Okay, so with that done, we are going to create the thing that isn't the tree. Then we're going to create the tree's stump. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to, from our construction master, create one more child. And we're going to call this BP wood debris. And we're going to open this up. Let's just grab our item mesh. And this might actually take a moment to load, but it should load faster than the trees. And it is tree stump 01. All right. Give me a second. It looks like my texture is a bit messed up here. So let me just work out what's gone wrong here. So really quickly, you shouldn't have that problem, but what happened for me was that when I was doing my source control, I accidentally deleted my tree textures out. I had to re-import them from the prep file. So right now on the other screen, the prep file is still doing all the updates. So, here's the prep file. I do have some of the stuff in the wrong spot, but that was completely on a screw up on my part for deleting the wrong thing. Just gonna quickly put the textures in of D tree stump 01D, and then it's D tree stump 01N, and we can see our tree stump texture quite nicely on there. All right, go ahead and save that if you have to do that. And there is our tree stump. So let's size this for our tree. Let's grab this. Let's adjust our collision offset. Actually, yeah, no, this is correct. Sorry. I'm getting ahead of where I want to be in my own head. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to set the harvest amount to this one to 5. And the amount to, we'll work our way down like usual. It's consumable. Nope, sorry. It's a tool. Go back to your tree as well. This is also a tool. We're going to compile and save these just for a moment. There we go. So it's tool. It's harvestable. It is not consumable in this case. It is stackable. It is just going to be called wood. Oh, sorry. No, it's not going to be called wood. It's going to be called scrap wood. It will have the icon of T wood 1. So our little twiggy icon. For the text, what we will do is put in the text on line 1 that reads, rather heavy scrap wood might be useful for making fires or building tools. Get rid of line 2. Line 3 will become weight, which will be 2.5 lb. Or, if you want to do in kilograms, you can work out values that make sense to you. I'm literally just using dummy values for now, and we'll have a max stack amount of 15. This will be our wood debris. And I'm actually fairly happy with the collision box. I am going to go to 0.8 on sort of 1 and 1. So it's a bit bigger. Yeah, 1 and 1 is fine for this. Everything else remains the same for this as for our event graph, our construction script. Everything else remains the same. All right, so now what we're going to do is go back to our TreeMaster. And in our TreeMaster, we have a few things that we want to take care of. So what we're going to do is when we're finished harvesting from the tree, we are going to spawn in the stump. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to break this to begin with. We're going to do another branch. And this branch is to ensure that we are picking, this isn't from a tree we're picking up. And we're going to do our was discarded. We want to make sure it was not discarded. Because if we drop a tree and then pick it up, we don't want, after picking it up, the wood that is, after picking the wood up that we've dropped, we don't want it to spawn in a tree stump. So we'll do that. We will then come from here and we will spawn actor from class. The class we are spawning is our BP wood debris. We are going to split the transformation. We will try to adjust but always spawn. The base amount to add will be 5. We can talk about making that dynamic in the future. It is not discarded. And what we're going to do is we are going to get actor transform. We're going to use the tree to figure out where this should be placed and its size. So what we are going to do is we are going to split this structure. We are going to go straight into our spawn transformation. We're going to go straight into our rotation. Clearly something is going to be different, so it's our vector that's going to be, or our transform that's going to be, transform scale that's going to be different. Our scale, oh my god, I can't speak. We're going to break vector. We're going to not make noise, sorry. We're going to make vector. We are going to plug the X and the Y in. Now, the Z, we are going to default to 1 because it looks really weird otherwise. Just trust me on that. I've played around with it. I might change that actually down the road. Who knows? All right, so that will spawn in our wood resource. If it is not spawned in, we're still going to carry on with these 3 nodes. And also with the nodes behind it as well. So we're going to, regardless of, hey, I have just, harvested a tree. All right, we'll get rid of the re-triggers, make sure there's something there we have to pick up, destroy the tree actor, and set is overlapping as false. Or we're going to come straight in or straight around that if we're picking up resources that we've dropped and just destroy the actor, and also make sure there's nothing else there for us to pick up. All right. Line those up, and there we go. That is setting up our tree. We're not done yet, though. Nope. We got to go to our construction script now. And we have to set it up for when we drop a tree. So when we drop a tree, if we don't do... Actually, you know what? Let's test our... Let's actually see this bug in play so you can see what's going on. Because I keep talking about, weirdness with our trees and things we have to be mindful of. So let's make Let's make one tree. And let's test that tree out. So let's go back to our items folder. Go to our resources, construction. Let's create a child class, and this will be BP tree 01. We're gonna have 5 tree BPs, by the way. So let's open this one up. And all we're doing is we're gonna grab our static mesh here. If I can figure out what static mesh is, why can't I do that? And we're going to do hill tree 02. Now, wait before you click anything. Again, remember, whatever. This might take a moment. It might go instantly. We'll find out. It's going to take at least a minute for me to get this to load in. So I'm going to pause the video, and I'll come back when it's done. Yeah, you don't want to know how long that took me. I hope it didn't take you nearly as long. Probably a good 45 plus minutes there for me. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that. We have to do this a few more times, and that gives you an idea how long this is going to be. If you want to go ahead, and an easy way to do this is go ahead, find the tree, and then open up the other trees. But before you do that, at least let's get this part done. All of this remains the same. You know what we need to do is go back to the TreeMaster real quick and make one change here. Adjust collision offset, because I know the trees all need their collision offsets adjusted. There we go. And we're going to shrink the size of this actually to 25% by 25%. And we're actually going to increase this one to 2. No, we'll go back to 0.5. We don't need to be so long. So we have to be right up against the tree for this to work. Which is fine. I don't mind that. I might... Yeah, no, I like that size. Let's go to 0.3 to 0.3. It's a little bit better at 0.3, actually. Okay. So, now that we've done that, let's just go ahead and place that tree in the world. So, let's go back to the correct folder and find our tree 01. I'm going to just place it on the water here because, well, why not? I'm going to just hit play. And when this loads in, it'll take a moment. There we go. Boom, pick up wood. There's 5 wood resources. Pick up wood, and it spawns the stump in. And I pick up the stump. There we go, there we go. And I'm gonna drop 1 tree. Okay. I'm gonna try that again. Discard 1. Huh. Right, let's go to our TreeMaster real quick. Make sure I didn't make a mistake here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop that for just a moment. And I'm going to go to our menus. So we're going to go to our core widget, widget elements, inventory, menu. I lied, we're not going to go to menu. We're going to go to our discard item menu. And we are going to do our discard event. You know, we could actually have just gone into our inventory. In fact, that's actually what we're going to do. Sorry about that. I'm not thinking this through. Go to our inventory, mostly because I didn't expect this bug to happen, and that's discard equipment we're in. We need inventory functions, discard item, and we're just going to start here. Let's hit play again. Of course, I've done this in the wrong map, which means that it's going to cause a problem. There we go. Let's hit play here. Hit E. Now there is a bit of an issue already that I want you to note, that the pickup prompt isn't returning until we walk away. That shouldn't be happening, but we'll take care of that in just a moment as well. Let's do our discard. Discard 1. All right, it should be 0 and 1. It is. And we should be going down that false path. Yep. We can skip through all of that. And we are going down that path there. Let's step over that one. I'm not sure. I did step over at the wrong point. So I'm just going to go forward again. I'm going to hit resume. I'm going to hit our discard again. And this is the part where I hopefully won't mess it up. We'll go through all these if we have to. It's this I really care about, actually. So what I'm going to do is add breakpoint, resume, and step forward. So it should be spawning. Ah, I see the issue. Set this to tree 01. And next thing, go back to your discard menu, inventory, remove those breakpoints for now. Sorry about that. That was kind of an obvious issue. Hit play. Grab some tree. Go over here. Discard some tree. Hey, look, I planted a tree. That bug, by the way, is one of the bugs I talked about earlier, where I said dancing trees. Look at it go. Look at it go. All right, so that's the bug we're trying to avoid, is not the dancing tree, the fact that we just planted a tree. So let's go back to our item master here, or not item master, our TreeMaster, and we're going to do on our construction script is update our tree a bit. And this is a relatively easy setup to do. All we're going to do is break this for a moment. We're going to do a branch here. And on this branch, we're going to run the parent off the true. And we're going to do a was discarded check. If it was not discarded, we run the parent, because that takes care of every normal situation. But if it was discarded, we're going to spawn in a log. So set static mesh, item mesh, or you can pull off the item mesh from the menu over here and find set static mesh. And we're going to do SM vegetation debris 002. And then we're going to take the item mesh again, and we're going to set simulate physics as true. All right, plug that into there, line this all up. And now when we go to harvest our tree, again, I've done this in the wrong window. You know what? Player start. We're putting one of those in finally. Putting the player start at the thing I've been calling the start of the island for a while. God knows I'm going to delete it so I can do start wherever I want. Of course, I could just right click and do play from here. Anyway, walk up to the tree, pick up some wood, walk over here, discard one wood, and look, we now have a branch. Now we need to make sure this works correctly, and that when I pick this up, that I only pick up one, and I do. Now the other thing we need to test, actually while I'm thinking about this, what happens if I discard 2 pieces of wood? So do that, walk over here, discard, and we're going to make this 3 apparently. Because I clicked twice. And we're going to pick that up. And it is 5. So that is working fine. Now the thing we need to work out is why the tree is not giving me that re-hit event. So the solution to the problem is really simple. I forgot to put one node in our TreeMaster. So on our TreeMaster, on the event pickup, on this branch here, we need to just duplicate, well, 2 of those nodes, the player retrigger and the get player controller. We don't need the self, so we're just gonna, actually, you know what? We have the get player controller right here. We didn't even need that. Boom. Boom. There we go. And this should work. We might need to change around the order of these nodes, actually, but let's test this out. Make sure to plug that into the correct spot. All right. Here comes the moment of truth. Does our tree work? Apparently it's opened in a window I can't find, so I'm going to redo it in this window. Boom, boom. Apparently I wasn't close enough for that one to trigger. There we go. Now, one thing I want to take a look at real quick. I'm just going to go into our TreeMaster here for a moment. And it appears the collision box around our log is a bit off. So what I want to do, just to show you this, is go to the items folder again, resources, construction, and we're going to go to our TreeMaster just for a moment. I just really quickly want to go to the viewport and do wood or debris, vegetation debris. And with a normal setting on our box here, it's perfectly fine at the 0.75 by 0.75. But the problem is that we aren't at 0.75 by 0.75. So what we're going to do is we're going to just open up our item masters. I just clicked through everything. Sorry about that. And we are going to still run the parent, I think. We're going to just go back to our construction script here. And we are going to drag that out a little bit. We will set collision, or set custom collision size, and it'll be 0.75 by 0.75 by 0.75. Guess it'd be useful if I didn't accidentally delete that first or second 0.75 and go into our parent there. Let's hit play, and let's pick up a piece of wood here. Boom. Walk over here, discard said piece of wood. Boom. And the collision box is much better for that one now. All right, in order to save us time, what I'm going to say you to do is create 3 more trees. In fact, I'm going to just do that on video so you can see me do that. And then we'll go through what we need to do for each of them. So we're going to create BP tree 02. Create BP tree 03. Create BP tree 04. And finally, BP tree random. In each of these trees, we have 4 trees. We have the hill tree, which I believe we did in 01. Just going to double check. Yeah, we did hill tree. We have hill tree tall, Scots pine, and Scots pine tall. I tend to find the Scots pine take longer. So go ahead, open up each of the trees, and work your way through the list of our static meshes. So this one will be hill tree tall. Next 3 will be Scots pine and Scots pine tall. We'll come back together after that. I do say you'll probably have a lot of pausing to do and waiting to do. All right, that said, I am going to pause the video here, and I'll be back once all of them have loaded on my end. Okay, that nearly didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. Yeah, I know I'm in 3. I did 4 by accident. So I'm going to say the box on this one is a bit too big for number 4. So start on 4, and let's just reduce this box to 0.25 by 0.25. Like we do with the others, go up to 0.3 to 0.3. That's good. I think actually all of them are going to be 0.3s. Because that is just, yeah, way too big. We might have to do this one a bit differently because of the branch that comes out on the side there. Let's go to 0.3. Let's actually go to the 0.5 on the Y. 0.35. And go to 0.25 on there. There we go. I like that one a bit better now. And so it's 0.25, 0.35. So actually, I don't have to worry about that one on this one. Just to make sure I've done the right one. Scots Pine. Scots Pine. Okay. So yeah, that's the right one. And the hill tree. Well, let's go to our usual 0.3s we're using now. 0.3 by 0.3. There we go. Okay. So we have one more thing we need to do. We have them all pretty much set up. What we need to do now is just add a socket to each of our trees. All right. To do this, what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to our tree meshes. So I'm just going to cheat and click that and open up the first one. And this bit is also going to be a bit where we're going to have some pauses. So what I recommend doing is just creating socket. This is going to take a moment or two, so I'm going to pause the recording yet again. All right, and I'm back. That took a fair bit of time, but hey, we are here, and we're in the hill tree 02. So let's select our socket. We're going to just rename it, and we're going to name it root. We're going to name all of our sockets for the tree's root. We need this to be slightly towards the bottom, and what we're going to do is just change the location to a -40 in the Z and bring it just a little bit down. That's all we want. We want it to be towards the bottom there. Just maybe think about it a little bit on the ground, towards the ground there, a little bit under it, so to speak. I've tested the numbers out. I can't quite describe where that's at, but that is the number that I found works best. All right, go through, repeat this process for all the trees. Get the sockets in for all the trees, name them all root, and then I'll come back through and tell you where I have placed them. I'm going to pause the video at this point. Well, that took like 10 minutes for me, so hopefully it didn't take you all that long, and you are good to go. We're going to go to our hill tree tall 2, as we've already done. Sorry, I have the wrong window in the wrong spot. Hill tree tall 2. And with our root here, let's move down to the bottom. We're going to set this one to -15. Let's go to our Scots Pine 01. And on our Scots Pine 01, we're going to set the root to -35. We're going to be using this, -35, in our next few videos. And with that done, let's go to the Scots Tall. And in this one, we're going to set our root to -20. Again, all we're doing is moving them towards the ground. I'm going to Control S, save everything. And that takes us through our resource setup for our trees. I forgot to do something in the video, and so I'm recording this to either edit in or put in as separate content. I forgot to talk about the tree random here, and we haven't set up our tree random, so I want to actually do that today. And so what we're going to do is pop this open. We're going to go to our construction script, which fortunately it loaded me directly into, because that makes my life a little bit easier. And here we're going to go back to one of our trees just real quick. Let's just open this one up. Sorry, not one of our trees. Let's go to our TreeMaster. And let's go to our construction script here. We have all of this for the parent script. We're going to kind of replicate this for the most part. In fact, what we're going to do is not replicate it, but take this first bit only, this branch that was not discarded one here. And in our tree random, we're going to start with that. The was not random. If it wasn't, we will be going directly into the parent. But, or sorry, was not discarded. If it was discarded, we are going to set our static mesh. That is not what I wanted. I wanted our item mesh. And we will be doing this with, you know, our 4 different tree types. Set static mesh. Plug that into there. And for here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a select node. And we're going to do a random float in, or random int in range. So random integer in range of 0 to 3. So that's going to give us 4 options, hopefully. So we need to add in 2 more pins to do that. So we have 0 to 3. And we'll do hill tree. 0, 2 is the first one. We will do hill tree tall as our second one. We'll do Scots pine, and we will do our Scots pine tall. Now, if you want to be really, really careful about things, you can do another select node, but we need to do a custom box or custom collision size here. And we can just default this out to 0.3, 0.3, and I can never remember what the default on the X is. Is it 0.5 still for the first tree? Let's open tree 1 and take a look. It's 0.5. So we could just do that as the default for all trees, but remember, I think we did the Scots pine, which is 0.3 at 0.25. So it's up to you if you want to use a 0.3. It really doesn't matter. It's a very subtle difference. I'm fine doing it this way, but we're going to come into our parent script afterwards, and then we're going to also come off the false afterwards here too, because if it isn't discarded, we just want to get through what the parent has it doing, which is putting in the discarded stuff. Or sorry, if it was discarded. If it was not, and we're doing the random tree, then we want to do all this other stuff. And then we want to make sure that our item class is set to our random tree. All right. And now, because I'm really paranoid that I might have forgotten this with our herb, we're going to go check our herb real quick. Did I actually do the small herb random? I did. Which meant I did the medium herb random too, I hope. I did. Okay. Now let's just test this tree out. Now I want to show you why it is kind of fun with the tree. Of course, it would be useful if I went to the right folder, wouldn't it? And let's just ignore the collision box here. That's from a couple of videos from now. That tells you how long it took me to realize what's happening. And as we move the tree, it spawns in different sorts. Okay, so there we go. All right, that said, either back to the main video. So now when we harvest our trees, we get wood that we can drop back down, not as a tree, but instead as a log. And when we finish harvesting, it turns into, well, a stump. So, I'll take the tree out of the water, by the way, in the next video. So if you've enjoyed setting this up, make sure to hit that like button down below. And if you want to be here when we start setting up our first procedural spawner, which will not be agnostic, it will be related to our particular game, then make sure to hit the subscribe and notify icon. And as a reminder, this series is brought to you by Patreon sponsors like Rian, Connor, 1Volt10, Galwa, Hanas, and Quad Menson. If you want a copy of this project, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Patreon supporters at upper tiers get instant access to all ongoing and completed YouTube projects that there are still copies of. And at other tiers, Patreon sponsors get access once a project has completed. Sorry for the weird pause in my voice. I'm just noticing something and I think I'm wrong about it. Yeah, no, there is jitter there. Alright, all of that said, I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Yeah, I'm not going to the outro yet. I think there's something wrong with one of these procedural generators we use. We'll check that in the next video.